For me to want to take the test was uh, because I was certified in Spanish. I took my test few years back, and I've been interpreting in Chuj. That's my indigenous language. For me, it's more like to show off my pride of this language, that it can actually be shown on a piece of paper, that I'm not only qualified, but I am certified in Chuj to be an interpreter. And that, to me, that does make a big difference. And being a qualified interpreter is great, but being a certified interpreter, that gives it a whole bigger meaning. Been hoping for something like this to become available. It's something very big and important part of my interpreting career, because where I come from, who I am, is part of what made me want to be an interpreter. I am from Guatemala, from the highlands, departamento de Huehuetenango, and that which has 31 municipios, or cities, I guess you could say. So from all of them, there's San Sebastián Cuatán is one of the places where Chuj is spoken. I I grew up speaking Chuj. That was my first language up until the age of 7 or 8, when I went to the city to go to school and started learning Spanish. So up until the age of 7, my only language that I could speak was Chuj. So getting out of the city was not easy for me, or getting to the city was not easy for me, as this was my first time leaving my hometown, the people I was growing up with. So I would say that those were my hardest years, because my very first time being uh, um, exposed to a different language, to a different culture, and going to school for the first time where I couldn't understand what was being said was very hard. Uh, I went to some bullying. At the time, I did not know what that meant, but now I know, because I couldn't understand. The other children would make fun of me not being able to speak or understand what they were telling me. So those were hard, and those were hard times. But with a couple of years being in school, I started learning, understanding, and the years passed. 15, as I was turning 15, I traveled to the US, and this is where I started learning English. Same thing, although not as hard as my first time transitioning to this different language and culture. I kind of have an idea at this time. So that coming to the US later, getting into the interpreting world, I found out that there was a lot of people who were going through the same struggles as I did growing up, especially on my very first time. That it someone not understanding you, you want to express yourself and you can't. That I wish that there was somebody back then that could help me, but since there wasn't, this was my chance to do that for others. So I put myself in their spot and think of them as me, as young me. And so that desire is in me to want to help them, because I know, and I feel for them, and I know exactly what they're going through, and I see the happiness in their face when they see somebody who speaks their language. Can be anywhere, with the doctors or next to a judge. Their the relief that comes to their face when they're able to see and hear their language, and being able to express, tell these other people what they want, is priceless. In preparing for for this test, I really didn't know exactly how it was going to be. So I just studied what I could, terminology, and just preparing myself as if I was going to retake the Spanish CHI. Obviously, I knew that it was going to be English to English. So just relearning my terminology because whatever that came at me. A little hard for me. Being English my third language was a challenge. And so I think the hardest part was having to do the paraphrasing, I believe, that you would have to say the same thing using different words, synonyms. So I think that was a little the part that was more challenging to me, and that compared to the Spanish, I had to interpret orally into Spanish or vice versa. So but for the English to English, everything is in English. But it was the best feeling because knowing that I achieved something that I was hoping for a long time, and that finally came to become a reality. That was just something that was a very, very important moment for me when I saw that certificate. Get certified. It is worth it.